I hope everyone is going good and welcome to the very last session of Cloud Computing Expert Masterclass. Right, and what we are going to do is we are going to go ahead and start the session, discuss something regarding the how to maintain governance risk policies, GRC factors, data protection part in the cloud, and the identity and other factors as well while we'll be moving ahead. So during this journey, we started with the very basic of the Azure, what is Azure, how Azure works. From there, we move on to understand how to deployment of the different resources of the my cloud computing itself, and then learn few more factors in between over here. Now, as we were in the journey or the transition of learning the cloud, so this was our whole journey. So last week, you guys have learned about the AWS itself. Okay, so what we are going to learn today, let's just go ahead and check the right our particular agenda for the day, what is going to be in there. So we are going to learn about the introduction to the governance, privacy, identity, and compliance capability today. So we'll be talking about these topics where we'll be talking about the governance policies on Azure, test compliance, privacy, data protection on the Azure, these parts over here, over the Azure itself. Then we will be talking about the Azure Identity Services as well. So I would be starting somewhere with the Azure Identity Services first, talking about the bit on the data protection, or deploying the data part as well over here, right? So we'll be rather than seeing these things more on the practical side of this one, right? So compliance, I think a bit on the compliance. Yesterday I gave you the hint with the Microsoft Defender itself, right? So it will be the same portal talking about the same things over there. Okay, so we will be going with this particular journey of ours. Now, what we have to do, we will be starting the session for the day, going ahead and talking about the different things. So the day 8 agenda over here is going to be this: introduction to the governance, privacy, and identity, and the compliance capability. So we will be just hearing about this fact over there, this self. Okay, so we will be talking about this governance policies, applying policies, compliance, identity services, what is there. So combination of all these things we'll be seeing today. So in the data, we will be looking into the how to deploy a SQL server, options given to us in the SQL server, storage account, the difference between them, what is going to be in there. So this is going to be the topics of our discussion today. So till yesterday, what we were doing, we were just going ahead and talking about the few simplest factor are revolving around what is the cloud, how cloud is working, right? Deploying the your security, so resources as well in the meantime. So we have deployed the security resources as well. We have deal with the your different security services. So in there, when you were having the Microsoft Defender for cloud. So it was having one section which was regarding the compliance. If I have to maintain the compliance, so we will be talking about that particular fact as well moving ahead. Okay. So first we will be today going ahead with the identity, your governance and privacy and the compliance itself over there. So I would love to start from the identity perspective over there. Now, I am pretty much sure that you guys are familiar with the Azure. There is the service which is called Azure Active Directory, which is for its IAM purpose. Like in AWS, there was one section which was calling itself IAM clearly, right? So here we have Azure Active Directory, and many of you will be familiar with the AD, that you have deployed in your on premises. And that's why, to give you the same kind of a feel and let people work with around the your uh, identity services here, this is the Microsoft way, that you the same, the field, services that people are very much familiar deploying an AD server, ADDS over there. So this is something that they are working with. So I'm audible, and let's just go ahead and start discussing about the your factor of IAM. Right now, what we have the cloud service with us. Now, what is going to happen is, this is the account that I am using over here right now. Okay, this one, what I'm doing, the account which I am using right now, that is going to be my main account. Just like, you have an admin account, or, this is my main account that I am having over here. So this is my main account, through which I sign up for the use services. So by default, it become kind of a root or administrator account. It has the power of global administrator. So going ahead, so different people who's working with me, who is my organization, if I want to give them the access to this portal, I'm not going to give them this, my account, share my account with them, that, okay, go ahead, use Rishabh's account and you will be fine. No, right? What we generally do, we start creating those users. For those users, we start creating the account itself, right? And the different accounts itself. Not only the, you know, everyone will be having the same permission. Everyone is going to have the different permissions moving ahead. And due to this fact, what is going to happen is you need to create users in your Active Directory or in the IAM service. So here IAM service will be handled with the name Azure Active Directory, right? Where you will be creating the user, you will be handling the users, giving them the roles, the permissions, these kind of the things and factors will be done over here. Now, what is going to happen? Second thing is we will be going ahead and we will be talking about the your compare authentication, or going on the end topic, talking about the very simplest thing over there before we start with the your identity services itself. Now, first of all, a simple question that I ask always, like, what happened is when we talk about the IAM service, every time you go into a new organization, like you join a new organization. Now, in that new organization, what happened is, first of all, for you, like I'm having Anuj over here. Let's take example of Anuj. Anuj join a new organization. For Anuj, a new identity will be created. So for Anuj, a new username and password will be provided, that yes, you are part of our organization. And if you have to access our resources, services, devices, you are going to require this username and password over here. Now, this will be the creation of the identity from where Anuj will be starting on. Then on different servers, system, Anuj will be given the permissions over here. Now, you need to be familiar with the basic computing concept and terminologies, that is going to help you out with this one. Now, first of all, we'll be talking about the two things. One is the your authentication, another one is going to be your authorization. So what we will be talking about in this particular object domain, our objective will be to explain the differences between authentication and authorization, tell you that what is the Azure Active Directory, describing the functionality and the uses of the Azure Active Directory, and then functionality users, what there will be multiple services like MFA, single sign-on, conditional access policy, right? So you might have heard conditional access policy, multi-factor authentication, and single sign-on are the most common terms that you might have heard. So first, if I talk what is the difference between your authentication and authorization. So you guys can put your, right? So for the authentication, what we need to have is there is the identity that was created for the Anuj. Now, let's say Anuj need to prove that identity, that yes, I am the Anuj. Anuj is going on the next day on the office, and he was having a system in front of this. There was a portal or login page. So he need to provide what? The identity over there, right? That you are gonna go ahead and enter your credentials of your identity. You will use these credentials to prove your identity, that yes, you are actually the Anuj. You're proving yourself, right? So that is going to be the authentication. So if we will be talking about the authentication, it is going to be the process of establishing the identity of a person or a service that want to access a resource. It involved an act of challenging a party for legitimate credentials and provide the basis for creating the security principle for identity and access control. So it is going to establish whether the user is who they say they are. If someone is claiming to be the Anuj, they need to provide the correct credentials over there. Now, When it comes to the authorization, authentication, it establish any user's identity. But authorization is a process of establishing what level of access an authenticated person or service has. It specified what data they are allowed to access and what they can do with it. A simple thing is, that page that is giving you the challenge that provide me your username password, it establish your authentication. It is making sure that yes, you are the particular person, you are the authenticated person. Now, authorization is that yes, you are here and you can just go ahead and work with with the authorization is, you know, you can access this file or not. You can read this file, write on this file, delete this file or not. That is the authorization part, right? So simple as that you have been interviewed for a role of the cybersecurity analyst. You got the job. They give you a RFID card to enter the office next day. You go to the office, you tap it on the door. So that is authentication you are doing. You authenticate yourself that yes, you are an employee. You can enter the office, but you simply can't go into the office of CEO, start sit on the chair and start giving people the instruction that do this work. No, you are hired to do the work of the cybersecurity analyst, and that is the job role that you will fulfill. So that is the authorization. What authorization you have? Okay. So few point: confirm the identity. Authentication confirms the identity of the user of service that seek to access the resource. You request authorized access credential over here, and reason for creating the secure identity and access control principle. These are the reasons that what and why you use the authentication, right? You will prove your identity. Then authorization provide permission and access to the authenticated user. Once you authenticated yourself, now you will be given the permissions over there that what you can do. Determine which data they can access, what they can do with the your proper permissions. Can you access a virtual machine or not? That is going to be the part of it. Okay, so this is the first factor. Second, let's just go with the theory first. While you are proving the identity, so if I will tell you from security perspective or the governance compliance perspective as well, identity is becoming the new security pillar, right? So identity start becoming a new kind of a security pillar. So everything because in the cloud, so we need to go ahead and check and verify everything over there. So to protect it, simply, you must have heard about the different kind of the authentications like password. Correct answer. So you know what? Your password is the one you know. Second thing is like, something you have. Okay. So mobile, email, OTP, this is something that you have. Okay. Then there is something like, more things are there that like somewhere you are, right? Okay. Somewhere you are is location based authentication. If you might have seen that if someone outside this specific location try to log in, you can block those logins as well, right? That is going to be the your, somewhere you are, or you can do the somewhere you are not. Those kind of things will be the location based or either the GPS based kind of a thing. Then there is going to be the something you are. Okay, if it's something you are is like, your retina scan, fingerprints, biometrics in simple terms. Those things are going to be there. There are more factors, but right now, for proving your identity, simple username and password was not enough. So with that, you were requiring, it's either two-factor authentication, like, after this, put the OTP or the third factor, like, your fingerprint, like these things were required. So this causes the things like your multi-factor authentication over here. So, there you have it is the process of prompting a user at the time of sign-in process for an additional form of authentication itself, right? And it provide the additional security for your identity. There's going to be things like something you know, something you possess, something you are, these kind of factors that you will be using for the your particular single sign on, oh, sorry, so for not only single sign on means all kind of the authentications over there. Now, so similar to that on the cloud, like even if you have 365, Office 365, all the identities that are being created into the Azure's Active Directory. So this is their cloud-based version of their Active Directory over here. So here we are going to learn a bit about the Azure AD, which is going to provide all the identity services and help us, enable your users to sign in and access both cloud application, okay, and the like application developed by the Microsoft or by you as well, giving them the permission, doing things like the single sign-on, all these kind of a thing. Now, when we talk about the Azure Active Directory, it is the Microsoft's cloud-based identity and access management service, which is going to help to employees sign in and access resources over here. So in simple terms, for those people who are new to the Active Directory, this is kind of a database where you will be keeping the track of all your users, their identity, their passwords. You'll be giving them the permission over there. All these kind of a things, will be working over there. So if we talk about the Microsoft introducing the Active Directory, it was, I think, in the Windows 2000, right? They give the organization the ability to manage multiple on-premise infrastructure component and system by using the single identity per user over there. So for on-premise Active Directory running on the Windows Server, it provides identity and access management services that's managed by your own organization. Now, Azure AD is Microsoft Cloud-based identity and access management service. So with Azure AD, you can control identity account, but Microsoft makes sure that this service is available globally. So if you have worked with the Active Directory in past, it look familiar to you as well over there. So when you secure identity on premise with the Active Directories, Microsoft, it doesn't go and monitor the sign-in attempts. But when you connect Active Directory with the Azure AD, Microsoft, you have the option of hybrid ADs, means you can connect your on-prem to the cloud Azure Active Directory as well. So when you connect your on-prem AD with the Azure AD, Microsoft, it can help you to protect you by detecting suspicious sign-in attempts at no extra cost itself, right? So, in Azure AD can detect things like the sign-in attempts for unexpected location and from unknown devices as well. So, it could be used by any end user, by the IT administrator, app developer, all these kind of things over there. So, your Azure Active Directory, it provides services, first of all, very basic authentication service, means verifying the identity to access any application or resource. Like you have a virtual machine, first of all. Now, who can access it? So I can create users in my Active Directory, right? I can create the account for, I will be, I'm going to use some of the example, guys. I'm getting the list of the user who joined in front of me. So I'll be using few names to create the account over there in my Active Directory. So, let's say I'm getting the name like Regina over here. Okay, I'm having second name like Abby, right? You are going to have something like these names over there. Now, these things are going to be over there, like Ajay Kumar is over here. So we will be creating these user. Now, when these users will be authenticating themselves, then we will be checking that where they should have the actually the permission, which application and source they can access. Okay, and we can give them the features like multi-factor authentication, self-service password reset, and some smart, we can log out the account if we detect anything. So a number of things can be done. We can perform things like the single sign-on, which enable you to remember only the username and one password to access multiple applications. So, one single identity will be tied to a user, which will simplify security model. As means you once you logged in into your account, and then there are n number of services related to your that particular user account. So you have to use different services, so you don't need to log in again and again. Once you log in, we will be making sure that yes, you can go ahead and access the other services as well if you want to do over here, right? So these kind of things are going to be the part of it. Okay. Then what is going to happen is with this one, uh, okay, we are playing with this, small things. So, all these things are going to be the part. Now, when we will be talking about the your other things, like you can manage the application and device as well. You can, register your application, your devices as well, and you can apply permissions, roles to them as well. You can create identity for them as well, and work around with those scenarios as well. So with that, even, what you can do, you can have two types, two things like B2B and B2C, customer services, identity services as well, business to business, business to directly to customer service, as well with your particular Active Directory itself. And these things are going to be in there. So first, let's just take a look into the Active Directory, and then there are other features of it as well, which we will be looking into. So let's just come to the first of all to the portal over here. Now, while we are in the portal, what I'm going to do on the top left hand side, you will see something like your Azure Active Directory over here. First, I want to show you my MCT accounts. I have the demo account as well. For my MCT accounts, Active Directory over here. I will make you notice a few things over here. Like if you will see right now, this part, this is my, directory name, default. It is a default directory. Then I have this tenant ID. Now there I'm going to have, this is my primary domain, and this is my license over here, which is saying Azure AD free over here, right? So this is going to be in here. Yes, by default, what is happening, I got a question that are you able to create Active Directory with the free account? So as soon as you register for your account or sign up for your account with the free account, the default directory will be created for you. Okay, this is going to be created over there, and right now my license is Azure AD free, which means many of my functions will be limited over there. Okay, now when we are going to talk about these things, what also we are going to do is okay, so what we are going to have is we are going to go ahead and talk few things over here as well. Now there is the user section which will be populated with the few users right now. Right now, I can create more users over here. Okay, there is going to be the groups, so we can have the groups as well. I can register my application as well. You can see app registrations. Okay, enterprise enterprise applications as well. So few application has been expired that I was using over here in the past, right? So you can have the different options over here. You can enable something like your single sign-on and other facilities as well over here. You can register the devices as well over here, right? So all these options are going to be the part that you will be playing over here. Okay, now while we are in this particular part, this is just the very basic one. So this, for user who is new, you can understand this is a place or a database where you will be keeping your usernames, password, or it is a database which will be keeping the track of your user. What are the or who are the different user who is registered over your organization. So let's say that I started a startup and I sign up for this one. So what I will do, let me do one thing. Let me open my demo account. Okay, we are now at officially the the demo account of mine. So what I will do, I will go to the Active Directory service over here. So few difference will be here. What I have done is I have activated its free trial of 30 days of Azure AD Premium P2 licenses. So the Active Directory, it work with the different tier of licenses. So of if you will go on to the left hand side to the licenses, this is going to be the licenses page. So you can go in there, you can try to understand that what will be there, the security license and all. You can go to these links and they will be helping you to understand the what is Azure Active Directory first of all. Okay, now creating a directory, how it will work, how things are going to work over here, the licenses, the different, links, pricing, everyone will be here. So it will be the, working over here, that how you have to work, what is going to be the different services that can be helpful over there. So, all these things are going to be in there. Now, when we talk about this, that it is going to, different services, like a simple, someone asked me that what is the conditional access policy. So let me tell you, conditional access policy is not going to be accessible to you if you have the free account. Like if I will go to my main MCT account, okay, this is my MCT account, you will see this is my Azure AD free, right? And with this free tier, it is not going to go ahead and allow me to, simply having the, I'm having the free license, right? Not going to allow me to do a lot of things. Like a very simple difference, I will show you a subtle difference. I will go under the security section, go to the my this multi-factor authentication part, and you will see something like this, right? I'm not, getting any different page over here. So this is a one page. Now there I'm having the premium P2 license in my demo account, 30-day free trial. If I will go into this part, you will see that if you have to go under the your same setting, security, and the multi-factor authentication over here. Now this page is looking completely different from the others, right? You can see them side by side as well. I go back to my free account, it looks something like this. I come back to my main account and it looks something like this, where I'm getting the option to configure your multi-factor authentication, because this is not the no more the free or demo account over here, right? This is the premium P2 license that is there. So this is a very small thing. And if someone is interested, working with the licenses, so what you used to do is you need to go to the your license section from the left hand side. You need to go to the licenses. There will be this option, get a free trial, on the overview of that. So here you can drop down the free trial and click on activate. So once you will get the notification, it is activated. What else you have to do? You then go to the all product over here. Then you will be selecting your license and assign it to yourself. Okay, so like I was go what I have done, my main account is with the name Nick Fury. Okay, so I use this account, I selected it, I go on to the assignment and assign it to yourself as well, and then click on assign. Once it is assigned to you, wait for a few seconds, you might need to sign it, sign out, sign in again, and then you will be given the your premium P2 license, and then your license part will be saying you have the Azure AD premium P2 license activated for yourself, right? And it will give you the different features as well moving ahead. So this is the first thing. Now what we will do, we can have the users over here. So I will in the default directory under your active directory, I can create account for the different people as well. Like I can go in here and I can click and create the new users over here. Now what I will do, I will be creating the few accounts over here. So let's say that there is the what, this simply I'm just uh, picking up the name from the attendees list. So there I'm saying someone with the name Douglas, right? And I will be going ahead and display name. I will be giving the okay, Douglas Martins. Okay, this is going to be in there. Now what we have to do is I got this name. So I will be keeping this username and password, copying it and keeping it safe somewhere so that I can use them in the my future sessions as well, right? So it will be helpful over there as well. Okay, so here we will be going with the, I will copy the username first, then I will copy the password of this. Okay, now, this is the first thing. And what we are going to do, we are going to next to the properties, keeping, I'm not assigning anything over here. If you want to add things like first name, last name, job title, company name, department, who is manager, office location, right? You can add manager as over here as well, who is the manager over there, and contact information and number of different things like email address, all these kind of things over here as well. Right now, we are not assigning anything. We are going to the next and assignment part and then review and create. These will be the details and simply create a new user over here. Right? So what we are doing, we are just creating the user here. So what is my Azure Active Directory? Again, you can say that this is a database where you are keeping the this is whole. When you go from here and you open this page, Azure Active Directory, you will get this page. So this whole with all these features, this is what your Active Directory, a database which is keeping the users, the password, the group, giving you the permission to enable you multi-factor authentication, single sign-on, register your application, register your device, managing it, give the permission. That is the Azure Active Directory as a whole solution over here. Now, what is happening is we have created the user right now. That user is this Douglas Martins, right? So what I will do, I will use another browser to log in into the account of Douglas. So what I will do, I will just simply go ahead from here and jump onto the pages. Oh, sorry. Um, I will go onto the your portal.azure.com. Okay, and I will use the username first and then the password. Okay, where I keep the password. Here, password, and do the sign in over here. So I will use the current password. First time when you will be logging in, it will be asking you to make a new password over here. So what we will do, we will be making the new password now. I will make a new password for this account. Paste it, go in here. And action required. So ask later I will do. Stay signed in. Yes. Right. Now I will again say ask me later. Okay, I think with this account, did I activated few settings? It look like no yet. Okay, so I just asked it that, it was asking me to register on the multi-factor authentication and other factors. I just simply said that, okay, I will do it later, right? So this is going to be there. So this is the part. This is your Azure portal account for the Douglas, right? So I'm logged in as the user Douglas now. So what will be the difference? If I go back to my main account over here, this was my admin users account, right? So I'm here right now. With this, if I will go to home and I will click on something like the all resources. So in the all resources, what you are seeing here that I'm having these many resources deployed. Actually, I was using it for the demonstration of Sentinel and all. So I'm having this whole thing over here, which is like three virtual machines will be there. Okay. And the logic apps, a serverless, a serverless computing feature. This logic app also I have created. Storage account I am having. So different services, public IP address, virtual machine, flow log, virtual network, and number of different things I am having under my account right now. But if I will switch back, this is my main account of Nick Fury. If I will just jump it back onto the your Douglas's account, right? So what is going to happen? I will go in there And at the same time, you are gonna go ahead and I will click on the Microsoft all resources here, and nothing your user can see at this point, right? And this is going to be your difference. So now someone was asking me in the chats that what is going to be the Azure role-based access control, right? So RBAC, Azure RBAC. So what is happening? You can't see that particular, factor over here. Even though if you will try to go ahead and create a new user from the Active Directory, although I am allowing you to see the Active Directory, if I will change my setting and restrict the use of this Active Directory, you can't even see this thing. Okay, Douglas can't see this thing right now. In my security features, I have let the people, the new user, access the this portal. If I will restrict the access, you will be unable to see this thing. If Douglas want to create a new user, you will see this feature is hidden over here. So this kind of the control based on your role, what you can do, what you cannot do, that will be defined by the role-based access control. Like I was just telling you that there are three virtual machines. If I will show you, there is going to be the one machine with the name like this, mdocs VM1, right? So this virtual machine is right now over there. Now with this machine, I can see that my main account can see this thing, but when I am switching back to the Douglas's account, Douglas doesn't even have any kind of permission. So even if I go to the homepage of Douglas, I go there, I look for the virtual machine, nothing, right? Now, as an admin, we have to decide what Douglas can access and what Douglas cannot access over here, right? So this is the few factors over there. And the same thing that I was talking about, I can enable now the I can go from my main admin account and I can check the things like the your for Douglas. I want does I want do I want the multi-factor authentication to be enabled for my Douglas. So here the settings, security settings, you will go and you can just simply see factors like your MFA over here, and I can configure it and I can enforce this onto the your Douglas. Now that okay, Douglas, go there and check this one out, right? So this is going to be the one particular scenario that is going to be our charts over here, right? So this is the one another thing. Okay, so we are back, right? So this is what is going to happen if you want Douglas to have the access over here. So different things are there, different levels are here. On the machine level, you will be providing Douglas the access onto the virtual machine only, right? What kind of the role Douglas can have, then you will do the bit of a role assignment from here. You can give Douglas the role like, next I will go and just a reader role I'm giving, right? Selecting the member, assigning it to the Douglas, selecting the Douglas account over here. So for Douglas, I'm selecting this, going on to the next. Then I'm doing review and assign. And now after assigning it, please wait for at least 1 to 2 minutes, else this is not going to reflect back instantly into the your Douglas's account. So we just wait. So I on the mdocs1 virtual machine give Douglas the reader role. You can check that under the IAM, under the roles, role assignments. You can check that Douglas will be having the reader role over here, right? And now you wait for 1 minute to 2 minutes. So I'm also going to wait from around a minute over here. Okay. Okay, we have waited. Now what I will do, I will be switching to the Douglas's account over here. So now I am on the Douglas's account. You can see this is Douglas account, right? I will go to home. I will scroll down and I will click on all resources that Douglas can see. Still nothing. Let me refresh the page. And now can you see Douglas from the whole list? For my main root user, there was a list of assets. Here for Douglas, only one virtual machine. So Douglas can go in here. And as Douglas has just the reader role, what Douglas can do is Douglas will go ahead and, let's say for example, Douglas want to stop this virtual machine. Douglas will click on yes, and instantly there will be a message which is saying you failed to stop the virtual machine. Why? Because Douglas doesn't have the permission to go ahead and start or stop a machine. Just a job function rule, that is read. Can see the state of this machine, and if you will see something interesting, you are unable to see public IP address, virtual network. If I will go to the networking section, not showing me anything. Disk section, again, you can see this thing, but when you try to go inside this disk, nothing. Why? Because you only have permission onto the single resource, that is virtual machine, right? So you can see only details regarding that, not even public IP address. Remember, in Azure, public IP address deployed as a separate resource. So you don't have the permissions over there. So what you got is you got this whole thing, like first thing, that only the reader role. I can't do anything with this one. I want to go ahead and do the connect section, right? I can't see the details over there. What is happening with this? Why? Because I don't have the permission over there itself, right? Now this is the your role-based access control. Okay, so we are using this to managing the customer. So this is what this is a resource-based access control. What I did, I give it a role over there. The give the permissions over there. This is going to be the part, right? Now when we are talking about the your go to home, okay, so this is what Douglas has the permission over there. I can revoke that permission as well if I want to. I can go to this place and I can go to the IM part, select the role assignment, and can take away that permission as well from the Douglas itself. Select it and remove it, right? So this is something that what we can do over here itself. This is one part. Now, when we are working about around this particular place, this is going to be the few things that we can play around. Now, there we define the user. Similarly, I can define a group as well. And what will be a group? Group will be, rather than picking up the user individually, giving them the permission, what we can do, we can create a new group, a security type group, we will be saying it, giving it a name like group 1. Okay, give the description of this group. Do you want to assign some role to the group right now? I will say right now, no. And I will be assigning the members to this group. First, I will select the owner of this group. My main account, I am making my Nick Fury, the user or owner of the group. Here in the members, what we are going to do is we are gonna go ahead, add Aditya. I will add, so, you can different apps that are there. You can select them as well, the part of the group. With this, there was the Douglas, right? So Douglas, I'm making them the member of this group and create a group. And similarly, I can create group for different project teams over here and then give them the permission rather than, picking individually up here that, pick this user, give it the permission, pick this user, give it the permission. Rather than that, better is we create a group and give the permission. Now in the group as well, because I was showing you the license. So if you have the license, means you can do much more things over there. Why I'm talking about that is if you have the license, you can go ahead and create a group. Let me refresh this page first. There is this group one. You can create a group which is called dynamic user and dynamic device. And this is again a premium P1, P2 feature of the Azure Active Directory. Means you need to have a license premium P1 or P2, then only it will be letting you know that or it will allow you to go ahead and work with the your dynamic group and dynamic dynamic device and dynamic user group. What it will do, rather than every time you assign manually the user, it will let you create a query which will be keep adding the users over here. So this is going to be that dynamic user group or devices group. As you can register devices as well in here, that's why you got that features over here. Okay, so this is the your few features that will be activated with this kind of a license over here, right? What else? I will just give you the another idea over here, right? So in these slides, next thing is going to be your conditional access policy, or what we call a CAP. Okay, conditional access policies over here. Now, what we are going to talk about it, that we are going to be this part, this feature of this. So this is a tool used by Azure Active Directory in order to bring signals together to make a decision and enforce organization policy. And it is heart of the new identity-driven control plane, right? Now, I know the definition was quite vague over here, that what it is doing at this part. So when we are talking about this conditional access policy or a CAP, first thing you need to understand, again, this is a premium P2 feature. To use this, you need to have P2 license over here. Now, what it is talking about, like, if you want, you can go to your portal as well. And in the portal, what I will do is scroll down, come to the part of the security here. There is this conditional access, right? I can click on the documentation of it. It will open a page for you which will be talking about the conditional access policy itself. So like it was talking about bringing together these signals. So now, three things it is doing. If you will look into this diagram here, signals, decision, and enforcement over there, right? Signals will be your things like what? From where you are logging in, right? So from where you are logging in, which location, which IP address, right? Which device you are using. Okay, you are using which kind of operating system. Okay, based on these factors, it can go ahead and decide that what, whether take the decision, rather block your access, allow you access, or allow you the access once you will do things like multi-factor authentication, or it will force you that no, if you want to log in from this location, first you need to change your password. So it can force. So signals can help you to take decision in terms of the force, and then it will be helping you to enforce those decisions and give you the access over here, right? So if you will see a very good line written over here, conditional access policy is the simplest are if then statement. If a user wants to access a resource, they must complete an action. Example, a payroll manager want to access a payroll application and is required to do the multi-factor authentication to access it. Okay. Now, administrators are faced with two primary goals: empower user to protective wherever and whenever, and protect the organization's asset. So even if I will take you back to the slides, what you will see here is the same diagram. Okay. So what the kind of things you are getting? You are getting the signals, right? User, or specific user or a group. You will be applying the conditional access policy for them. Well, you can use things like IP location. Okay. You can define some locations. You can define which device that user is using, their location, the user, which application user is using, and then you can detect the risk detection as well. So, some real-time risk. And this real-time risk is generated by Microsoft's another premium P2 feature with the name Azure Identity Protection. Okay, which is in simple term known as the IDP. Identity protection feature. It is also a premium P2 feature. P2 license is required to have this one. So what Microsoft has done, if you have the P2 feature, P2 license assigned to you, their AI and machine learning platform will be creating a profile for you. Okay, what is your behavior? It will be observing your behavior. And if one day suddenly it will find any difference in your behavior, that you usually used to use a device very specifically or IP, but suddenly that changes. So what is going to happen is they will be saying that, okay, due to the fact that you have changed the login location or anything, it will be simply saying that, okay, now this is the page, right? This is my main the demo account where I'm having the 30-day free trial. I go in here, I got this option of create a policy, right? And I can now create a policy for a specific user, the cloud apps that they are, cloud app or any registered app that they are using. Based on that, I can define my condition, like which kind of device they are using: Android, iOS, Windows Phone, Mac OS, Linux. Okay, what is their location? I can choose something like this, and I can force this kind of the your you know conditional access, that yes, you can go ahead and you need to perform multi-factor authentication, or your access will be blocked. That will be my decision to have. This is going to be the conditional access. Another premium P2 feature that is used, can be used as a signal as well, or individual as a service, is this identity protection. You can click onto the documentation page if you want to read about anything. So you can click on this thing. It will be taking you to the identity protection page over here. Now, for your user, there will be two things. It can detect your user risk and sign in risk. And remember, these two things, but that you have user risk and sign in risk, it is, you can't control the factors. Okay. So if you'll be reading its page of the Azure Active Directory Identity Protection, you will be finding out this is kind of auto generated, right? So it has the, auto-generated high quality heuristic based detection from first parties, security researcher, customer support, dedicated human labelers, and user generated. So what Microsoft this service will do, they will try to identify few factors, right? So with the automation thing, they can detect risk like anonymous IP address use, a typical travel, malware linked with the IP address, unfamiliar signing properties, if your credential has been leaked or not, a password spray. These kind of condition, it can risks, it can detect, right? Right. That means what is happening. This means it can detect and give you the idea that what is happening. Your identity is under threat, and then you can take some decision. Okay, so one question I got is saying that sometime user login shows as conditional access. What does that mean? That means when you are logging in, it is saying that your organization has deployed a conditional access policy, which is forcing you to perform either multi-factor authentication or blocking your access or allowing you to access the resource. That simply means that. Okay. Now, if you will be clicking on this particular, getting this article, you can detect the what is risk. Okay. So how different risk is defined by the Microsoft. You can see the list of the risk over here: risk type and detection, a typical travel, what it means, its a definition and description, what their algorithm will be detecting, anomalous token user anomaly, malware link with the IP address, what kind of the detection could be over there. Okay, suspicious IP, suspicious browser, the list keep going on, right? So all the list that is here, you can keep checking out over here. Keep checking out over here, right? So this whole risk list is generated by the Microsoft security expert. What is in there? So they can detect risk, then you can investigate risky user, risky sign in, risky detection. And again, remember, this is going to be the premium P2 feature only. So if you want to use it, you need to have the premium P2 licensing over here. Okay, so these are the few factors that is going to be in there with the Active Directory. And Active Directory itself is a very vast thing. So if you will be dealing with the more and more feature of this, there is a whole certification for the identity management going on in the security series, SC300, right? A 32-hour course, certification course, which will be talking about the, only the identity and Azure Active Directory, hybrid AD, that kind of a scenario over there, right? So we have these particular things itself over there. Now, this is the cap, different, so services, permissions over there that you can play around over here, right? So this is just the idea. You created the role and give someone the permission. So, with this one, even on the admin level, I can define lot of roles that can be given to the my users. Like if someone wants to go ahead and maintain the Active Directory, they want to create new users, so they need to have permissions like user access, user admin, right? So if I will be making Douglas the user admin, right, what is going to happen? I made the user, Douglas the user admin. Instantly, what is going to happen is, Douglas will have, or Douglas can have the quality of creating the your users, creating the your users, changing their password, managing those things, over here. Now, apart from this, not only this, but there will be the rules like password administrator. So this password administrator can reset the password for non-administrator and password administrator as well. So this is going to be the your different roles at the AD level that you can assign to your users, with which they can surely work ahead, right? So this is the one of the path that what we have over here. Now, what we will be talking about is, after the conditional access policy, a bit of the your governance over here. Okay, so let me take you to the Azure Active Directory. This is just the idea that what is the Azure Active Directory and all. Now, guys, if remember on the few days ago, I was asking you to create a free account over here. Now, before we go on to the because this is just the we can touch few factors. I can't just deep dive into only into the Azure AD. So before I start with the Azure governance methodology, I would love to give you guys a task. Okay, again, and this will be a very simple task one more time. So if you have the free account, I would love you to go ahead and you can create simply a user. Create a user. You can give it any name. If you want to give it any name, you can give my name to this one as well. Create a user, Rishabh. Okay. Then if you want to create another user as well, you can do that as well. Then try to go ahead and create a group as well. Okay. And we are going to give it the name like group one. Right. So what we will do is, I think 10 to 12 minutes should be sufficient to do this thing. So now what we are talking about building a governance, building the cloud governance strategy onto the Azure itself. So the term governance, it means or it describes the general process of establishing some rules and policy to make sure that those rules and policies are enforced and your day-to-day activities are in accordance to that itself. So while you are running in the cloud, a good governance strategy help you maintain control over the application and resources that you manage in the cloud. Okay, so maintaining the control over your environment ensure that you stay compliant with the industry standard like PCI DSS or corporate or organization standards, such as making sure that your network data is encrypted. Governance is most beneficial when you have like multiple engineering team working on an Azure. You have multiple subscription to manage. There will be the regulatory requirement that must be enforced onto your organization, and you have some standard that must be followed for all the cloud resources over here. Now, like you have to implement, some governance methodology in all your organization itself. Now, what you will be doing and what tools can help you with the these kind of a scenario over there, that is going to be the some tools and the things that can help you with the governance, for making the governance in your organization itself. So when we talk about very first of all, in this one, there will be the RBACs, resource RBACs we have seen a bit, resource log, tag, policy, Azure Blueprints, Cloud Adaptation Framework for CAF, which we in simple terms called CAF for your Azure. That is going to be the one of the thing that you can go over there and work. So although I have written it in the very last slide, CAF, Cloud Adaptation Framework for Azure, but I want to start from here. So this cloud adaptation framework, what it is going to be, it is kind of a tool. Okay, so we have the Microsoft Cloud Adaptation Framework for Azure, which provide you the proven guidance to help you help with the your cloud journey itself, cloud adaptation journey. So it help you to create and implement the business and technology strategies that is needed for you to succeed in the cloud, right? So what is in this cloud adaptation framework? So this cloud adaptation framework, it is going to consist of tools and documentation, which is, and some proven practices as well. So, you can define this into the different stages itself, like define your strategy. Okay, then make a plan, then ready your organization, then adopt to your cloud, and then govern and manage your cloud environment. Okay, so then you migrate over there, you innovate over there, and then govern and manage over there, right? So this is something that you are going to be like a part which you'll be following over there. Now what you have to do, you have to define your strategy. Okay, so when we talk about this governance stage, before that, when we talk about the governance stage, it will focus on the cloud governance. Okay, you can you can refer to this cloud adaptation framework, and you will find documentations which can help you to build the cloud governance strategy itself. And if you want to see the cloud adaptation framework over here, you can visit. Okay, to help you build with the adaptation strategy, the cloud adaptation framework, it will break down each stage into the further exercise and a step over there. So you have to start with define your strategy. Here is here you answer why you are if I'm just talking about the strategy phase, you will be answering that why you want to move to the cloud. Okay, what you want to get out of the cloud migration, and do you need to scale to meet your demand and reach the new market itself? Is it going to reduce the cost or increase the business agility for you? So you can go ahead and if you'll be jumping into the each of these steps, you will be finding out what else you can do over there. Now in this one, you can go ahead and define the documents that, what are your motivation, what business outcome you want. Then you will be going to develop a business use case over there. Okay. And after that, you will be choosing your first project. In the plan, you will go with the, map your aspirational goals to specific action. Okay, means you need to have a good plan and so that your efforts that you are taking, they can show some result, right? So you can create the inventory of existing digital asset and workload that you are planning to migrate to the cloud. Then you can initiate the organization alignment, that okay, from organization state point, which services we need to migrate, whatnot. Then you'll be creating a readiness plan, and then you'll be going with the cloud adaptation plan. And then same, you will be going on to the ready stage. You will be creating an Azure setup guide, right? What tools are familiar, what are not, all these things you will be taking care of over there. So you'll be going with the ready phase over there, and then setting it with the Azure setup guide. Then you'll be creating the landing zone, right? You will be start building the Azure subscription. Okay, and then you'll create the cloud infrastructure as well as governance, accounting, and security capabilities over there. And then later on, you will be expanding that landing zone over there and applying the best practices over there. And then you go ahead and start migrating to the cloud over there. You'll be starting with that one single workload, that transfer this workload over there. And then that first project will give you the confidence over there. Then you will be doing with the different migration scenarios. Then you will be applying the best practices onto those project that you have migrated over there, and then over the time you will be improving them. And the limited thing that you were doing on the cloud, you can innovate onto the cloud, because cloud will give you a lot of features, functions. So why don't you try to innovate, use the advantage? Okay, first of all, you'll be thinking that what is my business value, or what I want as a business outcome. Then can there is there any analysis tool or any tool that can help to grow and achieve that business outcome for me in the cloud service provider is providing any analysis tool like that. If there is, you can use that, improve your solution, maybe making it more scalable, your project, and more accurate, bringing your customer latency down, and apply the best practices that you can have over there, and even take the feedback that okay, whether it worked or not, if I use a new methodology over there, whether it work or not. And then there come the governance. Okay, so what you need to do, you need to have a methodology. You will be considering your end state solution. You will define a methodology incrementally, and then you will go from your first step all the way to the full cloud governance itself. Okay, you will be going with the benchmarks, governance benchmarks over there. Then to assess actually your current state to the future state, to establish a vision, to apply the framework over there, that what you want to do with that. So you'll be starting with this something like this over there, and then you will be going with the initial governance foundation. Okay, creating the MVP, capturing the first step of your governance plan, that what is my governance plan over here. So you will look for this something like that over here, right? So if I will talk about the portal, there is one portal which will help you with this. This is the Cloud Adaptation Framework Governance Benchmark tool, right? So this will be the one place from where, when we talk about the, governance benchmark tool, this could be something that can help you out. So if I will copy this thing, okay, and over the time, we will be improving these things one by one itself, right? So this is going to be the few factors that can be helpful over there. And then next step is saying manage, right? So we have to create a management baseline over there. So define your minimum commitment to the operation management. Management baseline is the minimum set of tool and process that should be applied to every asset in the any environment. You will be defining your business commitments, right? Expanding the management baseline over the time, and then making the design principle and all the things over there. So this is the cloud adaptation framework, which will be helping you to adopt to the cloud perfectly, with making sure that you maintain all the your governance itself. Now, after this, we will be talking about some tools which will be helping you to go ahead and achieve your, I would say, your proper governance over there. Like from the, you have to create a governance strategy for billing, for access control, your subscription limit, everything. So how everything will be applied over there, one by one, we have to discuss about them. And we will be using these, features like you are seeing in front of you, RBAC, resource log, tags, policy, blueprints, these things to help you out over there, right? So we'll be starting with the how the role-based access control will be helping you out. Already we have seen its idea that how it should be applied, but yes, we'll be going ahead and talking about this whole thing over. Okay. So at this point, what we are going to do is we are going to work when we are talking about this thing. So we will be starting with the your like I was telling, you have to control things like subscription limits you need to set, access controls, billings, everything need to be over there. So in terms of when you start Azure governance strategy at the subscription level, there are three main aspects to consider when creating and managing the subscription. First one is billing, right? So if you have multiple department and you need to do a chargeback of cloud cost, one possible solution is to organize, subscription by department or by the project. Okay. Resource tags, they can also help here, and you will explore tags later, right, over here. So we'll be talking about them later on. While we are defining our how many subscription do you need, or what name, what to name them, you have to take an account your internal billing requirements. That's what your internal billing requirement is over there. Second thing is, this is lot we are talking about the governance, subscription governance technology right now. Then there is going to be the your access control. So a subscription is a deployment boundary for Azure resource, and every subscription is associated with an Azure Active Directory tenant. So each tenant provide administration capabilities to set up the granular level access control through the defined role with the Azure role-based access control, Azure RBAC, what we call them, right? Who should have, where should they should have the access, all these kind of thing. And then subscription also has some resource limitation. For example, maximum number of network express route or VM or virtual CPU in one subscription, how many you can deploy them, okay, in one region. So those limits should be considered during the design phase, and if you exceed those limits, you may need some additional subscription, or you need, if you hit a hard limit maximum, then there is no flexibility. So in some cases you can request that, increase my capabilities over there one by one, right? Then, that is the subscription that I was talking about over here, that, when you have the subscription, you are going ahead with this, what to do over there. Now, we need to control access to all the cloud resources by using the your this RBAC, which I'm talking about over there. So you have multiple IT team, engineering team. Now, how to control what access they have to in the resource in your cloud environment. So it's a good security practice to grant user only the right they need to perform their job. Okay, so which we call the principle of least privilege, right? And only to the relevant rules, resources over there. So instead of defining detailed access requirement for each individual and then updating the your access requirement, so when the new Azure resource is created, Azure enable you to control access through the Azure RBAC. So Azure, it already gave you the built-in rules and describe the common access rule for those resources. And then you can define your own rules as well. If you want to, you can create your custom rules as well. If there is, any requirement that arises over here. Now, how a particular role-based access control applied to a resource over there. So first of all, you need to understand this diagram. This is going to be the, your, yes, kind of, your architecture that is going to be in there. So usually you will be having the Azure Active Directory, right? So inside this directory, what we have something which is going to be called your management group. Okay, tenant management group as well at the top, right? Now, what is going to be in there? There is going to be a management group. Then inside that management group, you can have a single subscription or a multiple subscription as well, right? And inside that, this is going to be a whole hierarchical architecture. Inside that subscription, you'll be having the resource group. And these resource groups are going to have what resources like virtual machine, databases, these kind of the things over there. So these kind of the scope is there, and you need to understand that, there are different rules, different level of rules that if you will apply them, there is going to be like, just a common thing. You inherit something from your parents. So this is that hierarchical architecture over there. So if you apply anything at the top of the this food chain or this hierarchical group, automatically the, roles will be inherited by the your resources that are in here. Okay. So when you should use an Azure RBAC, Azure RBAC is needed. Let's say that you allow one user to manage a virtual machine in a subscription, and another user need to handle the your virtual network. Okay, you are a database administrator and you just want a group to manage the SQL database in the subscription. So at the different level, you can apply the rule. So if I'm giving someone the VM contributor role at the your subscription level over here, right? So there is going to be the your, this is the Azure and this is the subscription level. So automatically that user will become all the resource group inside that subscription. It is going to be in there, and it is going to make the, that same VM contribute in every resource group wherever in this subscription, all the virtual machine that will be there. That user will become automatically a VM contributor over here or database contributor over there itself, right? So this is going to be the, your few of the scenarios that is going to be in the part. So it is going to help you with the fine grained access management and it segregate the duties within the team and grant only the amount of access to user that they need to perform on their jobs. And it enable access to the Azure portal and controlling the access to the resources itself over there, right? So you need to go ahead, like I was showing you that reader role that I have given earlier. What I did, I give that role to your particular, uh, the Douglas account, right? So I specifically give it on the resource level only, right? Nothing else. So what we did, I hope, I think I removed that permission, right, later on. But what we did, any resource. So you will see in here, this is my whole subscription right now. Okay. So you can go ahead, and if you will see the Azure Pass on the subscription level itself, I can go to the IAM. At this part, if I will be adding a role assignment over here, and I will give that reader role, or like here, virtual machine contributor roles. You will be having a virtual machine administrator role, virtual machine contributor role. So if I will apply it at the subscription level, automatically it will be applied to the all underlying resource groups, all underlying resources at once over there itself, right? And then you will be able to see that particular one. Like if you select this one, go to the next, assign it to the, let's say, to the Douglas over here, and select this user and assign it. I'm not going to assign it, I'm just telling you at the subscription level we can have something like this over there, and we can apply this role to my user. Okay, managing the permission over there itself. Now, like right now I'm using my main account, which is the Nick Fury user. Okay, this is in and my Active Directory. If we will see my users, this Nick Fury is my main account, right? Now, this is the global admin, kind of a root or administrator account, we can say. So, this means this user has all the permission. Now, if this user want to go to this virtual machine and restart it, it can simply click on restart and machine will be restarted, because it doesn't, going to have any stop over there. But what is happening? Another thing, the governance. Let's say that this machine was running very important workload, okay, or running some process. Now, what I want that during the time period while this is running some batch process or anything, very important web server it was hosting. So I don't want anyone to change its state, right? So when we are talking about that no one can change the state of this, what we need to have, we need to prevent accidental changes. And for that, what you are going to do, you are going to use your resource locks. Okay. So we are going to use the resource lock in this particular case scenario. Okay. Now, when we are talking about this whole scenario that you are going to have the resource locks. So a resource lock, it will prevent resources from being accidentally deleted or changes, right? So even with RBAC policy, what happened is, for example, I have done the Douglas the contributor role. So I will be using my main root account, which is having all kind of a permission, even though it has all the permission over here. Right? So yeah, okay. So if you have that permission, what is going to have, you going to prevent these things from accidental delete or changes itself. So what is going to happen is, you can see one line which is making sure of this thing. These locks sit outside of our back. My bad. Okay, so when I'm talking about the resource locks, so with the resource lock, as I was saying, second point is saying it sit outside your RBAC hierarchy, and when applied, it will place restriction on the resource for all user over there. No matter that is, what kind of user you are, it will be making the changes over here. Now, let's say there are two type of the lock. One is cannot delete, and second is read only. So if I will apply a cannot delete, there are few actions. One is read, second is updated, and third is delete. So if I applied cannot delete lock, first one, this one. So can I read the resource? If there was a virtual machine, can I read this? What is the state of it and all? Yes, you can. Second thing, can you update the state? Means it was running. So I will go ahead and restart it or stop it. It will be, is it possible? I would say, yes, it is possible. Then if I want to go ahead and delete that resource, then is it going to possible? I would say, no, this is not allowed, right? So you can change the state, but you cannot delete that. And second one is read only. So when you apply read only, can you read the state of machine? Yes, you can. Second, can you update the state of that machine? No, if it is running, it is only running. I don't want any accidental changes in that machine as well. Okay, so I will be saying that no. Okay. No, you cannot do that. So this is going to be the part. Then again, delete. No, right? So this is going to be the resource lock. Now, how you will apply it? And remember, hierarchical model is important over there. So when we talk about this whole thing, hierarchical model, so how it will be applied, let me just take you back again with my main account. This is my root admin account, right? Okay. Now, I'm having this virtual machine. At this machine, what I'm having the locks over here option. So I'm at the machine level itself, okay? Not in the your whole subscription level. So if you have to understand this, uh, there is going to be the resource group, which is the, this mdocs VM is part of this resource group. Okay. So this resource group have all these things. So if I will apply a lock at the resource group level, it will be applied on the all resources, but I'm just applying it on the virtual machine for now. I go onto the locks. I add a lock, giving it the name. Okay. Delete only lock. So I will go here, change it to delete and click on OK and save it. Right. So it is saved. And please, after applying it, wait for 1 to 2 minutes only. Okay. Else you will be doing the restart of a VM. It will be restarted because it will take few seconds to reflect those changes that you have made right now. So you can lock the whole resource group, resources as well if you want to at the subscription level as well. So this will be helping you to do those kind of a scenario. So this is only a delete only lock. So what I will do, I will go back to the overview page now. We waited for a few seconds. Hopefully, finger crossed, I will click on the restart button now. Click on yes. So it is the delete only lock. I restarted a virtual machine, and what I am reading here, successfully restarted the virtual machine. It was a delete only lock. So we restarted this virtual machine. That's a great thing. Then I go to delete and click on this delete button that I want to delete this virtual machine. So I am gonna go ahead and I'm saying that no, do not delete anything else with it because I know I have read this and click on delete. I want to delete this virtual machine. Now, when you will click on delete this virtual machine, what will happen is ideally it should fail. This was at this level. I will go ahead and remove this lock. I will go in this place and okay, let it be like this over here. Now at the resource group level, let me just show you at the resource group level itself. Overview page, go to the resource group now. In the resource group level, I will apply the lock, one more lock. So I can see all the locks inside my resource group from this level. You can read it here. What is the scope of this? Scope is only the virtual machine, one single virtual machine of this lock. So I will add something like read only over here and read only type I will make and click on OK over here. Now you will see the difference here. This scope is the at the your resource group level and another lock is only working on the one resource, one virtual machine level only. This is going to be the part of this one over here. So we have the two different locks in here. And when we are talking about the two different locks, I'm just waiting for them to just go ahead and take its place. So I will wait for a few seconds so that read only lock can also take its time and apply the changes over there. Right. So we waited, I think, long enough. Now you will see, I will go back to the virtual machine and just refresh it one time. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and restart the virtual machine now. And this time you will see fail to restart virtual machine. Last time it was successfully restart, but now it is not. Why? Because at the resource group level, I have applied a lock which is saying read only. So even though I am an admin user, I cannot go and change the state of it. Why? Because locks they sit out of that particular lock in your uh RBAC environment itself. So I can go do what I can go ahead and delete the my locks over there. And I will be deleting these locks. Refresh, there is no lock anymore. Right? So you need or you can use this as well to control your resources as well. So this was the your particular uh your resource locks that can help us in the bit of the governance itself, a tool. Now, another one is organize your resources by using the tags. Now, as your cloud uses it grows, it will be increasingly important for you to stay organized. And having a good organization strategy in place help you understand the cloud uses and also can help you to manage the cost as well over there, right? For example that you have a lot of resources now, which resource belongs to which group, which user, all those kind of a thing, which team, this is going to be over there. So resource tag is the way of organizing your resources. It provide extra information, we can say metadata, about your resources over there, right? And these metadata will be useful in resource management. Okay, so it will be help enable you to locate and and act on resources that are associated with the specific workload, environment, business unit, and even with the owners itself. It can help you with the cost management, optimization, right? You can go to your cost page and you can organize your resources by the each group, each department, like that. It can help you in the operation management, security. It even means you can tag it help you to enable to classify the data by its security level. Like you can add a tag like public, confidential, and you can get the data like that. It can help you with the governance and regulatory compliances as well. It enable you to identify resources that align with the governance or regulatory compliance requirements such as ISO 27001. Okay, it can be part of standard and enforcement efforts itself. And for example, you might require that all resources tagged with an owner or department name. This could be a limitation, right? And you need to follow that as well. So it can help with the different kind of thing. So what it usually have, it is going to have name and a value pair over there. Now with this, it will be very helpful for rolling up the billing information and different scenarios as well. So we can create and add tags to your resources. So what you can have like name and value pair, two things. So this thing, let's see this practically what is going to happen. Okay, so I was having these many resources over here under the same resource group itself. So what I can do, I can start sorting my resources like this mdocs VM1. I can give this the, go to this tag section. This is the name and value pair. So I can say which kind of environment it belongs to. I'm saying it is belonging to your um, development or no, I would say testing department, right? Test department or environment, testing environment. This is the testing environment over there. We can say that also what kind of the impact it will have, how important the resources to your business operations, such as is it mission critical, high impact, or I would say because it is testing, it is the low impact, right? So my impact is low impact. So either I can write it like this or simply like low, right? Impact is low. Second tag like this would be over here. And who is the owner of this? Owner is your Jendo. right? Like this, you will be having things over here, and you can apply these tags to this one. Okay, then you can control, and lot of the things, other things as well over here. So this is just one resource. I will go back to the resource group, open the new tab over here. What I will see is the IP address. So the IP address as well, or let's say m.vm2 itself. I will go in there in its tag. I will be again adding the same things over there, like the environment. Environment, this time it is the development. So I will say dev. Its impact is your medium impact, right? And then there is going to be the owner. It will be the John Doe this time. Okay, I'm having something like this. I can apply this one here. Right. So, I can have something like this, keep going on, and 3 to 4, let me add the 3, 4, resources over here. Then onto the VNet one, right? I can add the tags, same environment. I can say I can choose it like, it is the testing environment. I can go here, I can use the impact of this will be the low. I will go ahead and the owner, I can go and select it is belonging to Jane Doe and apply this over here, right? Uh, we can go ahead again on the mdocs VM3 now. If I will go in here, again tags, environment, development, impact, medium, owner, John Doe, right? Like this, I can apply things like this one by one. I can start sorting them out, and at the different places, it will be helping you out. Like you go onto the part of the home, and you just simply, you can just say that I was doing or going through the all resource, for example. So there was this heap of the resources. Now I can add filters over there. I can go to there and I can use the tags. Like I want all the environment which is equals to your development only and apply this. So here there should be actually two. Okay. So two virtual machines are there. Okay. This is going to be in this particular part. Now I can change this thing environment, equals this, and then again, I can select more of the things as well. I can change it over here from environment. I can use the tags like impact. I want all the medium impact, medium impact resources over here. So, you can see those kind of the resources which will be having the medium impact. So it will help you to organize here in the costing, in the subscription, in the different places. They will be helping you out over here. So your tags are also going to help you in this scenario. Then one very important thing that is going to be control and audit your resources by using the policy. Usually the policy output, they will be taking a good amount of time. So when we talk about the, let's say that you have identified your governance and business requirement, how you are going to make sure that your resources stay compliant? How can you be alerted if resources configured has changed? So Azure Policy is going to be a service that is going to, that is going to enable you to create, assign, and manage policy that control or audit your resources. So this policy enforcement, it is a different rules and effect on your resource configuration so that those configuration they stay compliant with the your corporate standard self, right? So you can see we are saying the same thing, right? Which is written over here, regulatory compliance and security cost management. So policy assist, emphasize organization standard and evaluate compliance at a scale. It also furnish governance and resource consistency and regulatory compliance, security cost and management over here. This help you enable to define both individual policy and group of related policy known as initiative. two things, right? So Azure Policy, it will evaluate your resource and highlight your those which are not compliant with the policy that you have created. So Azure Policy, they can also prevent non-compliant resource from being created as well. You can force those kind of a thing. So actually, when you visit this portal, you will see that there will be number of built-in policy and initiatives that is define, use cases and different categories they will be having, like under networking, under the storage, compute, security centers, monitoring, different part they will be saying. For example, let's say that you want to limit the size of the virtual machine to be used in any environment, right? If you will apply this policy, what will happen if someone is creating a virtual machine, they can only select that particular size. Like I'm limiting that only B2MS or D2SV3 or your B1MS you can choose in the size. So only those policy will be applied over there, and this is going to be over the your policy itself. Now, how it will work through the practicals we will see. So actually there are two things: policies and initiatives. So let's just jump back onto your resources and let's see that how it will work, right? So we will search for policy in the search bar. Okay, right? So here at my subscription, at my specific resource group level, I'm applying this policy. So, hierarchy again. So you can choose from the top to bottom and use something like this. Now you can apply this policy. So, who enable it, who assigned this, everything I'm leaving as it is. I go to the advanced, leaving it as it is, nothing I'm changing here. Now I have to define the size. Like I will be selecting B2MS here. Okay. We will be talking about the D2 V3, right? And this only. So two size I am allowing. Next remediation step. I don't want to remediate anything. Means, remember I was telling policy can force things as well. Like there is a policy which is saying your server should have anti-malware extension installed, but you are not doing that. So for that, this remediation step, you can create a remediation task. Then give this policy the proper rule. Okay, from same page, you will create the identity for it, give it the rule, and what it will do. If anyone will not be, any machine that doesn't have your particular anti-malware extension not installed on it, it will force it to install, or it will install that anti-malware extension on that machine. So you can do the remediation task as well. And if anything is non-compliant, you can publish a message as well that you are non-compliant, and a description over here. Simply, we will go to the review and create this policy. So sometimes this policy can take up to 5 to 15 minutes to take the effect. It is coming over here as well. You can read the notification. Please note the assignment takes around 5 to 15 minutes to take effect. So if, before I end the session, just remind me to show you this thing. So what you will notice that when I will try to create a machine which is not from these two sides, what it is going to do, it is going to force you to, it is not going to allow you to launch those machines, right? So through the policies, like you can create a thing like, do it for the, there should be the disaster recovery install, DR or backup should be installed for your resources. These kind of things are going to be the part of your policy definitions, right? Through the policy, you can enforce things over there. So this is going to be the one part. Now, what is initiative? Initiatives are your collection of policies, right? So when we were talking about the governance and achieving the compliances, so you will see there will be some of the things running over here, like NIST 853, of RF 5, SOC 2 Type 2, PCI DSS 3.2.1. So if I want to just check that whether my resource, my subscription, my specific resource group, my resources or the architecture that I have created over here, they are PCI DSS version 3.2.1 compliant or not, I can apply the initiative. Now, initiative is nothing but the collection of your policies. So 36 policies are inside this one, you can see. You can choose and select that which one you want to implement and which one you want to remove. That's just up to you. But it will be the collection of your policies over here. So when you have these policies, you can see here, Canada Federal, BBMM, Swift CSP, CS Microsoft Azure Foundation, Reserve Bank of India IT Audit, ACAT, ISO 27001 2013, New Zealand ISM restricted version 3.5, RMIT. So collection of different resources. If you go up, NIST 871, I know division 2, and here 465 policies are there. So you can check your whole infrastructure, whatever you want, that whether they are compliant to this or not. Okay, this is going to be the your particular policies and initiative which can help you to achieve compliance itself over here, right? So this is a bit of the idea for you into the policies and the your initiative over there. And one of the last thing in this is going to be the your Azure's blueprint over here, right? So in the Azure blueprint, when we are going to talk about this thing, what is going to be the blueprints? In the blueprints, we will be talking about the your uh, we'll be talking about the simple things like, let's say that at different level, when we are talking about this, what is need to happen is you are want to create an architecture. So we were having this where is that? Huh, yeah, in this page. Let me take you to this page here to understand the your resources. So what I'm having over here is, let's say that you know in this Active Directory you are having multiple subscription. This is subscription 1, you have the subscription 2, you have the subscription 3. Now in the all these subscription you want some common architectures. You want a very specific that all these should be having, this is mandatory, that all these should be having the resource group with the name like mandate resource group. It should have one virtual machine, one SQL database, like that. Each of one these has something like this. With that, there is also the mandatory thing is, let's say at the resource group level, you know, uh, one user who is the kind of the admin user, it should have the access like, or one user should have the access. You define a user with the name JP2, it should have the VM contributor role in all the subscription that you have. In addition to that, you want to enforce some policy on all subscription, which is making sure that your infrastructure is PCI DSS ready. So what it is, you want a common architecture, common thing in your whole resources. And this is where your blueprint will be coming in handy. So when we talk about the blueprints, so it is a package for creating the specific sets of standard and requirement that govern your implementation of Azure services, security and design. Such packages are reusable so that consistency and compliance among resources can be maintained. It make it possible for the development team to rapidly build and stand up a new environment. Development team can quickly build trust through the organization compliance and set of built-in components such as networking in order to speed up the development and delivery. Means in each subscription you have the requirement that there should be some VNet, okay, with the same kind of the your subnets and all those kind of a thing. So what you can do, like I was telling you, you can do the role assignment, policy assignment, ARM templates you can run to deploy any resources. And then there will be things like the resource groups. Okay, that these main resource groups should be in there. So you want that common architecture, you will prepare a blueprint at the top and you will deploy it every time whenever you want a common architecture over there that should have the whole goal like I was telling you. So this is something that you can use at the multiple time. Like you can deploy a policy that each one of them should be having the backup initiated for them. So this is going to be the few things that you would be wanting the blueprint to work with over there, right? So this is the blueprint service. So it is very complex. So I'm not going to show you the demonstration of that particular thing right now. Okay. Now few simple things which we'll be discussing in terms of your uh, privacy, compliance, and the data protection standard over here. So when we are talking about the compliance, I just show you one page. In the terms of compliance, if I will talk about over here, then you know, uh, we'll be talking about the Microsoft here, Microsoft commitment to the privacy and how Azure it adhere to those regulatory and compliance standard. So if your organization is government department or agency, you might need to deploy regions or you need to deploy in the regions like China. You also need to learn some additional consideration over there. So in general, compliance means to adhere to some laws, standard, or set of guidelines. So regulatory compliances, they refer to the discipline or the process of making sure that company follow those laws, governance bodies, and the whatever governance bodies are enforcing over there. So what we are going to do is we first need to check that how compliant Azure is, right? When it comes to the handling the personal data over there. Then how compliant are each Azure individual services that is out there. So we have to talk about or think about them as well. So when we talk about the compliance categories, so there is always those three things over there. So we start with the security, privacy, and the compliance over here. So when it comes to the this particular three things over there, so what we have, security, we need to make sure the Azure's design, is Azure is secure by design. Means it has built-in intelligent security. Microsoft aid in protecting against known unknown cybersecurity threat using the automation and artificial intelligence to protect your resources against them. Second, privacy. We are obligated to make sure that the privacy of organization across the contractual agreement by offering user control and transparency, and then compliance. You know, so Microsoft is claiming that we esteem local laws and regulation and furnish comprehensive coverage of compliance operation over there. Now, when we talk about in terms of the compliance and requirement, Microsoft they issue set of compliance offering, including certification and attestation both to any cloud service provider. So some compliance offering they will include like what they will have. They are going to have CSA star certification, EU model clauses, CJIS, HIPAA, ISO, NIST, all the compliance offering you will be having over here. You can see these things, you can check these statements as well over onto the trust portal of the Microsoft itself. So there is going to be this trust portal which will be letting you know that which certificate your Microsoft is having, attestation Microsoft is having over here. I will show you the trust portal as well. But prior to that, there is also the Microsoft's privacy statement over there. So it explains what personal data Microsoft collect, how Microsoft use it, and for what purpose it use it itself over there. So privacy statement, it cover all Microsoft services, website, apps, software, server, and the device. And this list range from enterprise and server product to device that you use in your home to the software that student they use at the school itself. So only not that, like if you have Xbox, it will be covering that as well. So what we have, the Microsoft has the online service term, OST, which is a legal agreement. If I will show you these things here, like all these things are covered. Now, if we will talk about the online service, I will be showing you this in a page as well. Online service terms, OST, and legal agreement between the Microsoft and the customer. So this will be the obligation by the both party to respect while processing and security of the customer data and personal data. So this OST, it applies specifically to Microsoft's online service that you license through the subscription, including like Azure, Dynamic 365, Office 365, Bing Maps, all these things. Okay. And with that, there is the data protection addendum, okay, DPA, which further define data processing and security term of online services. And these things, these terms, they include compliances with the law, disclosure of your process data, Data security, which include the practices, policies of data encryption, data access customer, data transfer, all these kind of things over there, right? So, the data security and the, DPA. So what we have to do, if you have to check this DPA over here. So first, let me show you the Microsoft's privacy statement. First of all, let me just take you quickly over there to the website of the your Microsoft's online statement, which we've privacy statement, which we were talking about first. So this is the your Microsoft privacy statement over here, which explain that what personal data we collect. You can read this whole thing, how they use the personal data. Okay, it will be the reason that where they will be sharing your data, how to access and control your personal data. Everything will be having with the link and everything. They will be talking about this whole scenario over there. Now you go and when what kind of the online service now when you purchase license or you go to the subscription, right? So for that, what they have the online service terms, right? And what it is going to define, this is going to be the page of that for online services, what is going to happen, right? So this is the data processing and security kind of a thing, licensing and all these things that is going to be over there. Okay, so this is going to be the licensing terms and everything over there, licensing the term, license requirement and all these kind of things over there. So even you can go ahead and if you want, you can search for the your documents and everything over here. This will be the whole part that will be working over here. So when we are talking about this whole scenario, we have these online service terms and condition kind of a thing as well, which is going on over there. Even if you want to access the DPA, which I was talking about, data processing addendum, which we were talking about. So what we can go to this portal over there itself, and this is going to be this one. Here you can search for anything. So we can search for the licensing resource like DPA. We can search it. Okay, so here you can see Microsoft customer agreement sample, and there is based on the different regions itself. So you can have that thing, licensing right, licensing programs, and different scenarios over here. Okay, and one of the very last thing to give you the the kind of the trust that there is going to be the your Microsoft's architecture is by default compliant or not. For that, we have the Trust Center, right? So it is a place where all those data attestations, certifications, even it will help you. The Trust Center is where you can find security and privacy setting for Microsoft Office program. You can learn about security, privacy, compliance, policy, feature, and you can participate across the Microsoft Cloud product. Trust Center website, it will give you the in-depth expert information, curated list of recommended resource and arranged by topic, and role specific information for business manager, administrator, engineer, risk assessor, and privacy officers itself and the legal teams itself over there. Now in that particular trust center, I will just take you there. It will be talking about the Azure compliance documentation over there. Okay, so we are talking about the compliance document. So you will be finding the compliance document onto the Azure compliance page, right? So there is going to be like your global US government industry regional laws that is going to be in there. So Microsoft offer a comprehensive set of compliance offering to help you and your organization to comply with national, regional, and the industry specific requirement that cover, elect, and use data over there, right? So this is going to be there. So if I will take you to that your trust portal page, what is going to be in there? Simply, let me just show you this one. Okay, this is the trust center from the Microsoft. So their commitment to you. So you can learn about the Microsoft privacy over there. You want to see compliance offering of theirs? You can click on this button. It will be the whole services around the globe. So identity and related to different things. Microsoft preview under this kind of a thing. So you can check out the different scenario compliance offering like GDPR. Okay, what it will be. you can see Microsoft compliance offering over here. So in the compliance offering page, you can see globally these compliances are followed by the Microsoft, US governments, and all these kind of the your resources are going to be in there. Okay, industry specific, globally, local, regional laws that you are following, Microsoft is following them. And even this will be helping you with this something like, you want to go and check globally ISO 27001 over there. Now you can go ahead and it will be, help you to understand. You can download the Microsoft Cloud, download the ISO IC 2720, 13. So you have to just sign in once and it will give you the documents, checklist. If you want to see the document related to that, you can have all these things at once over there, right? You can examine any of these kind of things. Like you can go there and I was here. You can go back and like PCI DSS, that will be the industry standard somewhere, right? This is the PCI DSS. You can go in here, check this page, and even they will be giving you sometime the blueprint to apply to make your infrastructure to that. You can download the reports as well of the Microsoft's all what we will say compliance blueprint. You can download these reports as well to help you, if you want to implement that same protection for yourself as well. You will have checklist blueprints that you want to implement, right? Now, apart from that, one more thing you should be aware that Azure has some sovereign regions as well. So, to meet some security and the compliance need of like in different regions, like if we talk about the US government only, so US federal agencies, state and local government and their solution provider, we have something which is called Azure government, which is a separate instance of Azure physically isolated from non-US government deployment. So this will be a completely different data center and place, which is not a normal use, your Azure instance over here. And it could be accessible only to the screened and authorized person itself, and it will be having or it will be compliant to these standards like FedRAMP, NIST 800-171, ITAR, IRS, DoD, these kind of thing. It will be compliant to over there itself, right? Now, apart from that, there is going to be some other sovereign region as well. Like there is Azure China region, which is again same separate instance for Azure Cloud, which is operated by the 21 via net. And all the data will be stayed in the China to make sure it is compliant over there. You will have that, right? So this is the few things that is there regarding the your governance and compliance feature of your particular data or Azure over here, right? So this was the very last topic, guys, for the session of it, and this was our Azure section of your Cloud Expert Masterclass.